Hello, children. This is Grandma Carla, and I'm going to read The Storm by Cynthia Rylant. Tonight, we're on Chapter 7, The Rescue. The winter was long indeed. Sebald had always spent the colder months sailing in sunny climes. He had nearly forgotten what it was to have frozen toes. In Pandora's lighthouse, from November to March, he was reminded every single day. In the worst of the cold days, the entire island was covered with ice. The spray from the sea washed over every piece of ground, every bush, every rock, and it froze solid. Pandora and Sebald did not venture out for weeks at a time. It was just as well, for the storms were furious. Sebald and Pandora were needed day and night at the lamp. Day and night they tended the mantle and shone their beacon of warning across the water. If they saved lives, they did not know whose or when, and if anyone out in the gray waters sent them a prayer of thanks, they did not know it. They did not hear it. Still, when finally the exhausted cat and dog laid their heads down to a brief sleep, they slept well and with contented hearts. Spring was never quite sure when she was arriving. One day the sky would be clear, brilliant blue, and the sun would shine its head on the small white crocuses around Pandora's door. Then the next day a wind would roar like a hurricane, and rain would bend all the new flowers to the ground and set everything a-shiver. Sebald made several false starts on his gazebo before the sun finally came out and stayed out long enough for a soul to get some work done. And it was while he was hammering on the gazebo top, atop the daisy hill, that Sebald saw what looked to be a floating crate far out upon the water, and above it looked to be a small flag. Sebald did not yet know it, but something wonderful was about to happen to Pandora's lonely lighthouse. "Pandora!" Sebald cried. "Come and look!" From behind the cottage, Pandora emerged with an armload of firewood. She set the wood by the door and hurried to the top of the hill. "Look!" said Sebald. He pointed toward the water where the crate floated. He could see no signs of life. "It has some sort of flag," he told Pandora. "Do you think it is empty?" Pandora gazed out across the water, and her face grew very serious. "I have a feeling," she said soberly. "I believe there is life out there." Sebald frowned. "Well, if life is out there," he answered, "it is not at all well, and may be certain of that, for that crate is surely drifting at the mercy of the sea." Pandora nodded. "I know," she said. Sebald took a deep breath, and he straightened his shoulders. "I shall just have to go fetch it to shore," he said. Pandora looked at him. "And how will you do that?" she asked. "I think I can manage my boat out that far," said Sebald. "She's torn, but I think she will float." "You think?" repeated Pandora. "We can stand here and watch that small flag float away, and goodness knows what tragedy with it," said Sebald, "or I can make adventure float." Pandora sighed deeply, but with resolve. "Make her float," she said, "and be quick." Sebald ran toward the shore. So that is the end of Chapter 7. Let's look at the pictures. My, doesn't the lighthouse get very cold? You see all that is ice. Very, very cold in the wintertime. And see the crocuses bending in the wind. And then Sebald spies a little crate over there. See, it's a tiny little crate, and it has a tiny little flag. And then Sebald gets the idea that he's going to make the adventurer float. That's the end of Chapter 7. And this is Grandma Carla, and I love you.